After the events of the anime, Sakuta's story was far from over, from heartbreak to healing, and even that wasn't the end. Here's everything you need to know about all three Bunny Girl Senpai movies. The story begins with Sakuta finally living a peaceful life. After helping several people with their Adolescence Syndrome, including his own sister Kaide, he's now focused on preparing for college and enjoying his relationship with Mai. Everything feels stable until Shoko Makinohara appears. Shoko, a cheerful middle school girl who mysteriously resembles the girl Sakuta once met. She was the one who helped him when he was at his lowest, struggling with his sister's Adolescence Syndrome. Shoko suddenly begins staying at Sakuta's home, bringing with her a warm but unexplainable presence. Sakuta encounters a younger Shoko during a visit to the hospital. Later, he and Mai speak with the adult Shoko, who reveals that she is terminally ill with a serious heart condition. From that point on, Sakuta begins visiting the younger Shoko every day, growing closer to her as he tries to understand her situation. After all this, the adult Shoko reveals, in one timeline, she survives because Sakuta dies in a car accident on Christmas Eve, becoming her heart donor. Her Adolescence Syndrome allows her to exist across timelines, driven by her desperate will to live. The young Shoko is a manifestation of that inner hope and fear, pulled into the present by this supernatural distortion. Sakuta is devastated. Though he deeply wants to save Shoko, the thought of leaving Mai behind, of her grieving over his death, is unbearable. Torn between his natural selflessness and the person he loves most, Sakuta finds himself trapped in an impossible dilemma. He doesn't know what to do. If he sacrifices himself, Shoko lives, but Mai will be left alone. If he does nothing, Shoko will die, and the guilt would haunt him forever. He tries to hide his inner turmoil, but Mai sees through him. Mai has always understood Sakuta better than anyone. She knows he would never let someone die if he could stop it, especially not a girl like Shoko, who still has her whole life ahead of her. And that terrifies Mai. She can't bear the thought of losing him. Even if Sakuta believes it's the right thing to do, she refuses to accept a world without him in it. While Sakuta rushes to the crash site, fully prepared to sacrifice himself, his determination is unwavering, even if it means giving up his life to save Shoko. Mai steps in to save Sakuta, taking his place in the accident. On Christmas Eve, she ensures that she is the one standing where Sakuta was supposed to be. Mai is lying in a pool of blood. The shock is immediate. The love of his life, gone. The pain is unbearable. And when he realizes what she's done, that she gave her life for him, his heart shatters. In this timeline, Shoko survives with Mai's heart, but Sakuta is no longer the same. He walks through life as a shell of himself, consumed by sorrow and regret. Even Shoko, though saved, feels the heavy weight of Mai's sacrifice. He refuses to let this be the ending, no matter how impossible it seems. Sakuta vows to find a future where no one has to be sacrificed. Not Shoko, not Mai. Adult Shoko, who knows she will vanish if history is rewritten, offers to help one last time. Together, they can return to Christmas Eve and undo the chain of events leading to either death. Using the power of Adolescence Syndrome, Sakuta materializes back on that fateful evening, but isolated, unrecognized. Inspired by Mai, he dons the iconic pink rabbit suit she once wore to be seen, and heads for the crash site. At the train station, Tomo Koga spots him in the costume and asks what he's doing, proving he can be noticed by certain friends despite the altered timeline. Realizing he can't face the crash alone, Sakuta calls his own past self on the phone, explaining the entire paradox. And Sakuta begs Mai not to sacrifice herself. He then races to the accident scene and pushes his past self out of harm's way moments before the truck hits. Because two versions of Sakuta cannot coexist, the future Sakuta disappears just as the crash is diverted. This intervention saves both Sakuta and Mai from the accident, but now young Shoko is never placed on the donor list and her condition goes untreated. She still faces imminent death. Sakuta and Mai, reunited in this new timeline, realize that stopping the crash wasn't enough. Shoko's underlying illness and despair remain untouched. Fully aware of all previous loops, she chooses to erase her own memories of Sakuta and Mai. Shoko writes down her hopes for the future in her 4th grade notebook as a pledge to live, even if she can no longer remember them. This relinquishes her Adolescence Syndrome bond, but also removes the traumatic burden from Sakuta and Mai. With Shoko's conscious decision to find hope in her own future, time unwinds to New Year's Day in the present. The fatal accident never happens. Shoko's illness has been subtly averted by her newfound will to live. Adult Shoko never needs to exist, having been reset by Shoko's sacrifice of memory. With this final act of hope, the tragic timelines are erased, and a new future begins. Rascal Does Not Dream of a Dreaming Girl ends with them walking on the beach. They spot a cheerful young girl playing. It's Shoko Makinohara, healthy, alive, and full of life. While the memories of what happened feel distant, like a dream, something in their hearts remembers. Their love has survived countless timelines, and now finally they get to live in the one where everyone is saved. Though Kaide's original personality has returned, the scars of her past remain deeply embedded, especially the severe anxiety caused by relentless bullying, which originally triggered her puberty syndrome and subsequent amnesia. Kaide sets her sights on attending Minagahara High School, where her brother Sakuta studies. Despite Kaide's determination, her long absence from school creates obstacles. Her counselor suggests online high school as a better fit. Sakuta, concerned yet supportive, researches options carefully, wanting to protect her without pressure. Driven by brotherly love, he offers both practical help and unwavering emotional support, standing by her side no matter what path she chooses. To help Kaide prepare for the demanding entrance exam, Sakuta enlists the support of Mai and her younger sister, Nodoka. Together, they create a nurturing study environment, where the focus is not only on mastering academic material, but also on rebuilding Kaide's self-confidence and courage. Each session becomes a delicate balance between patience and encouragement, as Kaide wrestles with lingering fears and the anxiety of relapse. Amidst her emotional turmoil, Kaide shows quiet courage by going alone to submit her high school application, facing the uncertain future with a fragile but determined spirit. This act marks a small but meaningful step in her effort to regain control over her life. Sakuta immediately notices, his concern deepening as he watches Kaide struggle to maintain a brave front. Despite her insistence that she's fine, the visible marks reveal the silent battle she faces within. When the day of the entrance exam arrives, Kaide enters the hall carrying a mix of hope and lingering anxiety. As she begins the test, her focus suddenly breaks when she spots a former middle school classmate, one of the bullies who caused her deep pain. The sudden shock floods her mind with painful memories, triggering a severe panic attack. Overwhelmed and unable to continue, Kaide is forced to leave the exam early, her progress halted by the emotional wounds that have yet to fully heal. Crushed by the overwhelming experience, Kaide finally breaks down in a raw and vulnerable outburst. Tears streaming down her face, she voices her deepest frustrations and fears, accusing Sakuta of pushing Panda Kaide's dreams onto her without ever truly seeing who she is now. She questions whether he understands the pain she carries or if he's been chasing a version of her that no longer exists. This confrontation shakes Sakuta deeply. Hearing Kaide's honest pain, he feels a sharp pang of guilt and sorrow. Sakuta pulls out Panda Kaide's old diary, weighing her down with burdens she never asked for. Reading her words, he gains a new perspective on the hopes and dreams that once belonged to her past self. He sees clearly how those lingering shadows have influenced his actions, leading him to subtly push Kaide toward fulfilling a path that might not be hers to choose. This realization stirs a profound change in Sakuta's heart. He vows to listen more closely, to support Kaide not as a reflection of who she was, but as the person she is becoming. Shortly after, Kaide and Sakuta encounter Uzuki Hirokawa, the idol from Sweet Bullet. Uzuki candidly shares her experience of choosing to attend online high school, not as an escape from challenges, but as a deliberate decision that allowed her to grow at her own pace and embrace her true self. Her heartfelt words resonate deeply with Kaide, offering her a fresh perspective. It's perfectly okay to take a different path, as long as it's a choice made from her own heart. After much introspection, Kaide reaches a decisive conclusion. She chooses to enroll in online school, not out of failure, but because she is finally embracing her own voice and desires. Ironically, she later receives news that she has been accepted to Minagahara High School through a special exemption for exceptional circumstances. Despite this unexpected opportunity, Kaide remains steadfast. She tells Sakuta clearly and confidently that she will attend online school, affirming that this path truly reflects what she wants for her future. Rascal Does Not Dream of a Sister Venturing Out closes on a quiet but powerful note. Kaide's strength lies not in erasing her past, but in honoring it while walking a new path forward, one that isn't shaped by fear, pressure, or who she used to be, but by who she's choosing to become. The story begins with Sakuta talking to a young Mai, who soon appears in person, and Sakuta is introduced to Mai's mother. Sakuta's life is settled in a comfortable rhythm, balancing high school, university entrance preparation, part-time work, and a deepening relationship with Mai, who is about to graduate. While studying together, Mai playfully shows Sakuta a marriage certificate she received as a joke from her co-stars. They fill it out together, and guided by a rare intuitive feeling, Sakuta asks Mai to keep it, sensing it may hold importance in the future. Shortly after, a strange new scar appears on Sakuta's abdomen, beginning near his belly button, the hallmark of a new case of puberty syndrome. Realizing this could indicate supernatural distress, they briefly consider consulting young Shoko Makinohara, who understands alternate realities. Yet they decide to set that aside for the moment. Sakuta receives an unexpected but hopeful call from his father. Their mother, hospitalized for 2 years after a nervous breakdown, is recovering and wishes to see Kaide. Her condition was triggered by guilt over Kaide's bullying and trauma, events that forced Sakuta to take Kaide and live separately from their parents. While relieved by her improvement, Sakuta worries about how this reunion might affect Kaide, who is only beginning to heal and reconnect with the world. So focused on protecting her, Sakuta barely acknowledges his own buried feelings, despite having carried adult responsibilities since their mother fell ill. Kaide is hesitant and anxious about seeing their mother again, unsure of how she'll be received and what emotions will resurface. Although she has made progress, the wounds from her past remain close to the surface. Still, a family dinner is arranged. Kaide, their father, and their mother are all present. Kaide and their fragile mother share an emotional reunion, each trying to bridge years of pain and distance. Meanwhile, Sakuta remains withdrawn, avoiding eye contact and speaking little, burdened by unresolved scars from his past. Eventually, he leaves while Kaide stays, quietly working to rebuild their family bond. The next morning, Sakuta wakes to a terrifying new reality. He has become completely invisible and inaudible to everyone around him. His teacher doesn't return his test, and he quickly realizes no one can perceive his presence. When he returns to his parents' apartment, he sees his mother and Kaide, who also cannot see or hear him. With growing dread, Sakuta realizes that his mother is the source of this strange syndrome. The painful truth hits harder when he discovers her hospital diary, where he is nowhere to be found. Looking back on the previous evening, he understands that his refusal to face his mother directly has brought this on. Forced to mature quickly to care for Kaide during his mother's illness, Sakuta had buried his feelings and pushed his mother out of his mind. Now that she's recovered and no longer needs him, he feels adrift, like a thread severed from the fabric of his family. The scar on his belly, shaped like an umbilical cord, painfully symbolizes this feeling of being unneeded and cut off, a physical mark of his invisible severance from the bonds that once defined him. Disoriented, Sakuta finds himself drawn to the beach where he once saw young Mai. She appears again and silently guides him home, not to his apartment in Fujisawa, but to his childhood house near Yokohama. There, he gradually realizes that he's stepped into an alternate timeline, an ideal world where his family never fractured. In this reality, Kaide was never bullied because Sakuta stood up for her. Their mother never suffered a breakdown, and their home life remains peaceful and whole. Despite subtle differences, Mai still loves him deeply, and everything feels almost too perfect, like the life he always wished for but never had. After spending the day in the alternate world, which seems perfect, Sakuta realizes his adolescence syndrome remains unresolved. He meets young Mai again, who guides him back to his original world. He then finds a message in his journal from the alternate universe's Sakuta, urging him to get a grip on his life. Sakuta remains invisible to everyone, trapped in the silence of adolescence syndrome. Following the advice left by his alternate self, he leaves a letter for Mai. When Mai arrives, she is the only one who can see and remember him, thanks to the marriage certificate she kept as a tangible link to their bond. Their heartfelt embrace becomes a powerful testament to the strength of their connection, proving that their shared memories can defy the syndrome's erasing effect. In this moment, Mai becomes Sakuta's anchor, offering comfort and reminding him that facing painful emotions together is an essential part of growing up. Empowered by Mai's steadfast support and his own deep reflection, Sakuta decides to reconcile with his mother. During a hospital visit, he quietly enters the exam room, and in an emotional breakthrough, his mother finally sees him again. Soon after, Kaide joins them, and the family is reunited, symbolizing Sakuta's emotional healing and his literal return to visibility. This act of forgiveness and reconnection proves to be the true cure for his adolescence syndrome. After his emotional reconciliation, Sakuta meets young Shoko at work, who reveals her family plans to move to Okinawa, hinting at changes ahead. Their casual chat takes a mysterious turn when Shoko mentions the song she's listening to, and its singer, Taoko Kirishima, seem to exist only in her memories, not in any other timeline. Rascal Does Not Dream of a Knapsack Kid provides an emotional resolution to the core family conflicts, healing Sakuta's strained relationship with his mother and supporting Kaide's recovery. As Sakuta approaches college and Mai has already graduated, the story shifts focus from family struggles to new challenges, paving the way for the next chapter in Sakuta's life. If you want more recaps like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, and let me know what anime you want to see next.